Excellencies, distinguished delegates, dear colleagues, partners, families, and friends, welcome to the IFFD briefing and award ceremony of 2026. It is a real pleasure to gather once again with such a committed and diverse community, united by a shared conviction that families are not only at the heart of society, but at the heart of sustainable development itself. Throughout 2025, the International Federation for Family Development significantly deepened its presence across the United Nations system and at a regional level, consolidating a family perspective that is evidence-based, policy relevant, and rooted in lived experience. In February of 2025, IFFD strengthened its global advocacy for families through two closely connected milestones. We have been participating with the Executive Board at UNICEF and in the Global Caregivers Forum held in Madrid, Spain. We advocated for the recognition of parenting support as a core investment in child well-being and child protection. Our message was clear. No child-centered policy can succeed without equipping parents, mothers, and fathers with the tools, time, and support they need to care, nurture, and guide their children. These engagements highlighted a crucial lesson. If care and parenting are to be taken seriously in policy, they must be made visible, measured, understood, and valued. That conviction guided our first ever contribution to the UN Statistical Commission in March 2025, where IFFD addressed a long-standing gap in global data. How we assess time spent at home by women and men in domestic work and care. What we chose to measure shapes what we prioritize. Making care visible in statistics is a necessary step towards more equitable, family-responsive policies. March also marked another important milestone. IFFD participated as a speaker at the Commission on the Status of Women, contributing to a side event focused on parenting and, and mental health. This discussion reaffirmed that gender equality cannot be fully achieved without addressing the emotional and psychological dimensions of care, nor without recognizing the pressures faced by families as they navigate work, caregiving, and well-being. Later on, during the Commission on Population and Development, we organized a side event on mental health and parenting across the life course. The conversations highlighted a simple but powerful truth. Demographic resilience is not only about population trends, but also about the strength of relationships within families and the support systems that surround them. May brought a particularly meaningful intergenerational moment. During the observance of the International Day of Families, organized by the Division on Inclusion Social Development of UN-DESA, young advocates conveyed youth-led recommendations for the World Summit on Social Development. Their message highlighted how young people see families as essential spaces of care, belonging, and solidarity. But they also expect policies that respond to today's realities. Their contribution reminded us that family policy is fundamentally future policy. In September, IFFD reached another milestone with its first participation as speaker in a high-level side event during the UN General Assembly. This presence reflected years of consistent advocacy and partnership building, and it strengthened our ability to ensure that families are not peripheral, but central to high-level global decision-making. At the same time, one of our flagship initiatives continued to grow and mature, the Inclusive Cities and Sustainable Families Project. Today, this initiative brings together more than 200 good practices and family-friendly policies implemented at the local level. Regional events in Brazil, global exchanges in Argentina, and policy dialogues in New York demonstrated that cities are often where family policies become tangible and transformative. Equally important has been the active involvement of young representatives in policy development processes within network cities in Italy, Spain, and France, showing that intergenerational dialogue is not only possible, but essential for sustainable local governance. Internally, IFFD has strengthened its leadership and cohesion throughout 3 regional meetings of IFFD leaders in North America, Europe, and West Africa. These gatherings reaffirmed the strength of our federation, global in reach, local in action, and united by a shared commitment to families. Many of these strands came together in Doha during the World Summit on Social Development, where IFFD organized 3 high-level events in partnership with governments and organizations as Kenya, Poland, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, UN-DESA, SOS Children's Villages, and the great hosts of Doha International Family Institute. These events placed care, support systems, and the family perspective at the center of renewed global discussions on social development. So why organize the IFFD briefing now? Because we are at a decisive moment. Across regions, families are absorbing the impact of economic uncertainty, demographic change, mental health challenges, and growing care demands. At the same time, there is a growing opportunity and responsibility for the private sector to act as an enabler through family-friendly workplaces, care-supportive policies, and partnerships that recognize people not only as workers, but as parents, caregivers, and family members. Today's briefing is about building bridges between care and productivity, between public policy and private engagement, and between immediate support and long-term sustainability. Before concluding, it is my honor to congratulate the 2026 IFFD awardees. Your work exemplifies what is possible when families are placed at the center of policy, innovation, and practice. Today, we celebrate not only your achievements, but the values they embody. As we move into today's discussions, let us remember, investing in families is not a cost. It is one of the most strategic investments any society can make. So thank you for your commitment, your partnership, and your continued trust in IFFD. We look forward to shaping the next chapter together, and thank you very much. We will now move to the interactive discussion and will give the floor to Dr. Alex Vasquez, Director of International Relations of IFFD. Alex, you have the floor.
Thank you, Nora. I'm truly excited with the discussion, especially because I see all friendly faces, all friends and even family. We definitely appreciate all the speakers here. It's always like a weaving job to bring all these perspectives with a single theme that makes sense with a commission that UN-DESA has prepared. And for this section, I will briefly introduce all the speakers right now so we can have a fluent discussion later. And I will first go with Sadie Funk and Sarah Reddington, co-founders of the Best Place for Working Parents. Then we have Jana Samaro, Director General of Health, Social Policy and Disability from the region of Friuli-Venezia-Giulia in Italy. We also have here Yvette Murphy, right next to me, Senior Advisor of Childhood Education International, one of the co-sponsors of this event, and Ahmed Arif, Director of Family Research of the Doha International Family Institute, a dear old friend from Doha. And let us just start with Sadie and Sarah that have come together, and they're going to share with us what they do, or at least right now how they do it, for us to know how they do the work that they do, and they have deserved the IFFD award for that. So, Sadie, sorry, you have the floor.
Today and for this incredible honor. We are grateful to IFFD for your consistent leadership in lifting up the critical role that parents and families play in shaping the future of our global society. At the Miles Foundation, our work is guided by the conviction that parents are our children's first and most important teachers. And when they are supported both at work and at home, they're better able to contribute fully to their families, their organizations, their communities, and our economy as a whole. This was a central pillar in our collective effort to build the best place for working parents. And today's workforce looks very different than it did 20 or even 10 years ago. Today, parents and caregivers make up the majority of the US workforce, and 2/3 of children under the age of 6 have all parents working outside the home. When asked, 83% of millennials say they would leave one job for another with better family-friendly supports. And so the best place for working parents began with a question. What if our business community could lead the way in building a multi-pronged solution to, one, help working parents and especially our mothers address a growing childcare need, two, boost opportunities for children to thrive through stronger childcare supports and family-friendly workplace policies, and three, improve businesses' ability to attract and retain today's top talent. Our early work included roundtable discussions with 100 business leaders of every size and industry to ask about their family-friendly policies and challenges, while concurrently delving into the national research on the proven ROI of those strategies. And together with our business community, we built the first of its kind 3-minute online self-assessment that highlights just the top 10 research-backed policies proven to benefit working parents and businesses' bottom line. Because in order to build a sustainable solution, we needed to address businesses' strategic imperatives while also meeting the needs of working families. We launched the Best Place for Working Parents in Fort Worth, Texas in 2019 and soon expanded across the United States. Today, we are proud to share that nearly 3,000 businesses in 14 states have earned the Best Place for Working Parents designation, impacting over 5 million employees nationwide. Across industries and regions, organizations face common challenges: attracting talent, retaining experienced employees, managing productivity, and building resilient teams. The data is increasingly clear that family-friendly policies, when designed intentionally with families at the center, can directly address these business challenges while also creating an environment where working parents and their families can thrive. The Best Place for Working Parents focuses on the areas where return on investment is strongest and most consistent across markets. These include access to childcare support, flexible work arrangements, parental leave, and responsive workplace practices. Each of our policies reduces friction between family and work life and produces measurable organizational benefits.
Hello. I'll just speak loud. Best Place for Working Parents allows businesses to instantaneously see if their organization also showing them a live dashboard of results of how their business fares across the top 10 policies against other businesses of like size and industry. The online self-assessment acts as the starting point, allowing business leaders to explore proven family-friendly policies and gain a marketable competitive advantage by earning the Best Place for Working Parents designation. Critically, Best Place for Working Parents builds confidence for businesses by accessing a wide range of tangible, family-friendly strategies and options they can customize depending on the size of their organization and their workforce unique need. Every one of our top 10 policies are grounded in research and have proven case studies showing the impact on employee motivation, loyalty, productivity, satisfaction, and retention. And the majority of our designated businesses are small and micro-sized organizations, proving there's a myriad of ways to benefit caregivers and employees across all business sizes, geography, and industry. The impacts are measurable, both for businesses and working parents, and I'll highlight just a few. 73% of highly credentialed women who have left the workforce say they would have stayed had they had access to flexibility alone. And employers who offer flexibility are rated 123 times more supportive as a workplace, boosting employer loyalty and overall satisfaction. When employers offer remote work, their employees experience 2 times better health outcomes and double their personal relationship satisfaction. They also show up twice as motivated at work. Employers who offer healthcare benefits are 4 times more likely to have high-performing employees, and their workplaces are rated 5 times more supported than their peers. Lastly, childcare assistance boosts employee well-being at work by 4 times and nearly quadruples employee motivation. And we know these policies create real impact. So I'll briefly share about one manufacturing firm who added on-site childcare, believing it would strengthen their family-friendly culture and deepen employee loyalty. Within just 18 months, that decision helped them to retain a key employee, allowed a working couple to stay employed, it allowed their young children to have high-quality childcare, and the business was able to fully recoup their initial investment and was operating at a profit within those 18 months. Perhaps most important to today's conversation is the very real reality that when parents experience greater stability at work, families benefit. When families are stable, children are better positioned to succeed, and when children succeed, communities and economies are strengthened over the long term. In this way, we believe employer decisions play a meaningful role in shaping broader social and economic outcomes. We're grateful to the International Federation for Family Development for recognizing this work because your mission reflects the same understanding. That families are essential to development and durable progress requires systems that support them. The future of work will depend not only on innovation and investment, but on whether institutions are designed to support the people who sustain them, and organizations that align their operational strategy with the realities of family life will be better positioned to compete, to endure, and to lead. The Best Place for Working Parents exists to help make that alignment possible through data, customized support, and tangible strategies grounded in research. Thank you to IFFD for your leadership in advancing solutions that strengthen families, workplaces, and economies around the world.
Well, thank you so much for all you do. It's actually impressive. And it's something that is going to be growing and growing, I can see. When we were asking the 68 countries if they have, as they do every year, many suggestions for nominees for IFFD award, the US suggested the Best Place for Working Parents, and we were like, oh, we are right next door and we haven't heard from them yet. So we're really happy that you're here and you're sharing what you do for families. Now I'm gonna give the floor to Jana Samaro. Jana actually has been following IFFD wherever we go or organize events. The last time I saw her was here at the UN in October for the World Cities Day that we organized with many other mayors and UN-DESA as well. And previous to that, only 3 days before, we were in Argentina in our technical meeting for also mayors and technicians as Jana is. And I would like to definitely hear more from you and what you're doing.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Alex. I'm focalizing in the policy for families and vulnerable people, which had been a priority for our regional government and professionals for at least 3 decades. From simple projects, we have adopted specific programs to combat vulnerability and prevent poverty and help families and individuals. It should be emphasized that little can be done without agreement and political will. I need to underline that one. At the heart of any program is a careful analysis of the context to identify gray areas where action is needed and allocate resources appropriately, accompanied by listening and sharing with the citizens of the region. Health profiles and health plans have been developed in this way and have become program documents at the end. 27.5% of our regional population is over 65 years old, and Friuli-Venezia-Giulia is experiencing a demographic winter, a tremendous condition, if you think, that is not being mitigated by immigration nowadays in our region. We have learned that networking is essential in order to develop successful and comprehensive programs for citizens. So we started working in a multidisciplinary teams that included social workers, healthcare professionals, NGOs, and citizens. And examples of this collaboration are the foreign programs, so Prisma Set, which is a monitoring program to detect fragile people. And we discovered 38% of people over 75 we needed to follow, not to take in charge, but following, just to prevent. And FVG on the path, so following the 10,000 WHO for health. So it is a very beautiful and interesting project. More than 2/3 of municipalities in the region joined, and they finalize tracks for disabled people, older people, and for all. And it's fantastic. We are monitoring and financing as a region, as NGOs and citizens too, and the municipalities. So another is a CFA help desk for elderly and disabled people all over the municipalities. The Abitare Possibile, which means good places where people can live all together in green areas and stay together and not in residential places, you know. And help your neighbor, which is another beautiful and special projects for inmates. Just to help them to find a job and to learn and to teach, just to follow them from the jail to the freedom. So we have strengthened our network by passing several regional laws. The law on active aging and combating loneliness, this is one, and we finance the NGOs. Law on formal and informal caregivers. So we have every year, we celebrate in October, the beginning of October, the Caregiver Day conference, and we are focusing on young caregivers. So, which is a very interesting topic. In 2024, we have created a Wellbeing Economy Lab with the WHO. In this context, we are developing a regional health literacy plan and collecting all the welfare programs that companies implement for their workers. So the link with you is necessary for us. And we believe that good corporate welfare has an excellent impact on families. Meanwhile, in the collaboration with the ELISA network, IFFD, and Professor Rector Rocha, we have begun a live case study for families and individuals affected by Parkinson's disease. So we have shared the challenges we have set ourselves with other parties for a new therapy that starts with the choice of a company that is investing in a new molecule and has signed an MOU with the region and the university. So more workplaces in the FVG and welfare improved. This is the results, and we are monitoring. The importance of multidisciplinary networking is enormous. We are monitoring the progress of the program and its impact on families and patients, and the effectiveness of the molecule when the in vivo study begins, we hope soon, the economic benefits for the region due to the establishment of the new company and its funding for research, 3 million dedicated, using the indicators established at the beginning of the process. So, at the end, 4 final recommendations, suggestions, remarks, as you want. The first one is context and needs analysis, absolutely. And the second one is multidisciplinary and integrated work between various local authorities and NGOs involving citizens. And the third one is sharing with politicians who must include what has been agreed with professionals in their electoral programs and monitoring them with acts after they've been elected. And the last one is campaigning projects and programs and actions with an impact assessment plan. Thank you so much.
I really enjoy your intervention, Jenna, especially because I have heard it many times, and also because you brought up what we are trying to convey with inclusive cities and sustainable families. That is this family-friendly recommendations from the regional and local levels that you have conveyed perfectly. And thank you again for your intervention. I would like to introduce now to Ms. Yvette Murphy from Childhood Education International. I have to say that for many years already, I guess 6 or 7, we have been working together in the NGO community and UNICEF as both co-chairs, fighting there in the trench of the executive board of UNICEF, promoting families and child well-being. So thank you for your collaboration all these years.
Thanks so much, Alex. Thank you, Excellencies and distinguished colleagues. Good afternoon. It's with regret that our CEO, Diane Whitehead, who was scheduled to speak today, is not able to be here due to a death in her family. And she sends her sincere apologies and gratitude for the opportunity to be a part of this important dialogue. My name is Yvette Gattilau Murphy, Senior Global Education Advisor at Childhood Education International. And Diane asked me to deliver her remarks today and participate in this conversation. Thank you to the International Federation on Family Development and partners for convening this timely discussion on advancing social development and justice through family-centered care and work-life policies. Childhood Education International, or CE International for short, is a global nonprofit consulting organization with over 130 years of experience supporting governments, civil society, and education systems to strengthen children's development, well-being, and learning. We have held consultative status with the United Nations since 1977, and we're very proud of that. Our work focuses primarily on young children in the early and primary years, while recognizing that children's development occurs within families and across the life course. Families are central to children's care and well-being, which is why we are especially pleased to partner with IFFD in this conversation. As you know, the ways we respond to today's social challenges will shape the path forward for children and families. Over the past 2 to 3 decades, early childhood systems have become more complex, strained by economic pressures, workforce challenges, and overlapping local and global crises, even as many systems remain limited in scale and reach. At the same time, stakeholders are being asked to do more with fewer resources, while expectations for impact and sustainability continue to grow. With these pressures, while these pressures are real, they also create an opportunity. This moment of disruption invites us to rethink how we design and deliver support for families, and to build systems that are more coordinated, more inclusive, and more sustainable. I'm going to highlight 2 ways that I believe can turn this into an opportunity. Number 1, to deepen multi and cross-sectoral collaboration and better coordinated systems for services to children and families. And as we're here today, to engage private sector actors, businesses and corporations as essential partners in sustainable family-centered systems. First, we must deepen multi and cross-sectoral collaboration. Family-centered care cannot be delivered through silos. When health, education, social protection, and child protection systems coordinate around shared goals, families experience more coherent, accessible, and effective support. Multi-sectoral coordination allows us to respond to the complex realities families face, reducing fragmentation, improving continuity of care, and using resources more efficiently. While this kind of coordination requires sustained effort and alignment across institutions, we know from global experience that integrated approaches lead to better outcomes for children and families. Building and strengthening these coordinated systems is essential if we are serious about advancing social development and justice. Second, we must engage the private sector as an essential partner in family-centered systems. For too long, business has been seen as peripheral to social development, rather than as a core actor in shaping work, caregiving conditions, and economic participation. Today, as traditional development financing models evolve and pressures on public systems grow, engaging business is no longer optional. Businesses influence how work is organized, how caregivers participate in the labor force, and whether families are able to balance care and employment. The question is not whether the private sector has a role to play, but how we engage businesses strategically, aligning their incentives with family well-being, workforce stability, and long-term social and economic outcomes. At CE International, we launched an initiative in 2024 called the Center for Business Champions, grounded in what we call return on childhood. The return on childhood refers to the measurable social and economic gains that come from investing early in children and families. Through the center, we focus on translating family-centered care into economic language that decision makers already use, particularly in business and economic policy spaces. A core part of this work is building the capacity of early childhood leaders to engage the private sector as strategic partners, not just as funders. At the same time, we work directly with business leaders to strengthen their understanding of early childhood systems, caregiving realities, and how family-friendly workplace policies connect to workforce performance and long-term economic resilience. As we've heard earlier, the evidence is clear. Strong early childhood systems are not just social goals, they deliver economic returns. International analyses consistently show that high-quality early intervention can yield returns of $4 to $9 for every dollar invested, while the cost of inaction is also significant. In the United States, In the United States, challenges related to childcare access for children from birth to age 3 have been associated with over $100 billion annually in lost productivity and economic participation. But evidence only matters if leaders know how to use it. Many early childhood leaders are deeply knowledgeable about children and families, yet are not always supported to communicate their work in ways that align with business decision-making frameworks. The Center for Business Champions exists to close that gap. Through targeted training, tools, and coaching, we support early childhood leaders to translate developmental science and social impact into clear investment narratives, helping them move from grant-seeking relationships towards strategic partnership models where businesses are engaged as co-investors in family-centered systems. We've seen how this approach moves evidence into action. Through the center, we partnered with Fundação Abrinq in Brazil to support Campeões pela Infância, forgive my Portuguese, or Champions for Childhood, a network that mobilized business leaders around shared economic and social evidence to advance child-centered policy outcomes. When early childhood leaders are equipped to engage the private sector strategically, and when businesses are prepared to act as partners, family-friendly policies can move from isolated practices to embedded systems that advance social development and justice. That is the work of the Center for Business Champions. When private sector actors support families and family life, the benefits are clear. A stronger future workforce, improved productivity, reduced turnover, and greater economic participation by parents and caregivers, all contributing to long-term economic resilience. Building resilient, equitable, family-centered systems requires partnership across sectors, governments, civil society, communities, and private actors, each bringing unique capacities and incentives. We are in a moment where business interests and social development and justice imperatives are converging. If we engage the private sector strategically and equip leaders across sectors to work together, we can create systems that deliver lasting benefits for children, families, and the societies they sustain. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yvette. And definitely, we're all mentioning evidence-based, and that has been the key to succeed in what we do here at the UN with IFFDs, all family-friendly policies based on evidence. So thank you so much. I would like now to give the floor to Ahmed Aref from the Doha International Family Institute. As you will know, we have been coming and going from Qatar these past years, not only because in 2024, for the celebration of the 30th anniversary of the International Year of the Family, the Qatar Foundation, through the Doha International Family Institute, organized the Conference on Family, but also because last year the government of the state of Qatar organized and hosted the World Summit on Social Development. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Alex, for the nice introduction. It's always a pleasure to participate and engage with our partner and sister organization, IFFD. I'm pleased to focus my intervention today, very concise, on how empirical evidence has directly catalyzed the development of transformative work-family balance policies in the state of Qatar, with a focus on the business sector. In a study conducted by DFI of over 800 employees in Qatar assessing subjective experiences with family-friendly policies, we found that 65% of female participants in a nationally representative sample reported symptoms of depression linked directly to the limited work-family balance policies, particularly in the private sector. Furthermore, our extensive study on the decline of fertility rates, encompassing a sample of over 4,000 participants, identified the extension of work-family balance policies as a primary determinant in fertility decisions, while emphasizing the need to develop such policies, particularly in the private sector, where provisions related to maternity leave, breastfeeding hours, flexible working arrangements are less than those in the public sector. So in order for us to propose policy recommendations, not only based on the needs and the narrative of the research participants, but also to consider the organization's perspectives, we conducted a cost-benefit analysis study using Qatar Foundation as a case and as a benchmark model to nudge for change across businesses and government. The findings provided a compelling economic narrative for change. For instance, monetizing the impact of maternity leave extension. We estimated that while the annual cost of extending maternity leave is almost 1.4 million Qatari riyal, the associated benefits are valued at 2 million Qatari riyal in terms of increased productivity, less absenteeism after reporting back to office, high rates of retention, commitment, performance, and so on. So this resulting in a net benefit of 600,000 Qatari riyal. On another measurement with regards to flexible working arrangements, because maternity leave, the sample is less. For the flexible working arrangements, the sample are across all employees in Qatar Foundation. So employees reported significantly higher work-life satisfaction at large, reduced psychological stress, and increased organizational commitment and higher rates of performance. In monetary terms, the total net benefit of these arrangements amounts to approximately 6 million Qatari riyal annually, which is around 1,600,000 USD. This research has successfully shifted the narrative from purely focusing on social and family cohesion, resulting from work-family balance policies. We have demonstrated that family-friendly policies are not only essential for quality parenting and for family cohesion and well-being, but are also drivers of enhanced employees' performance and productivity, and ultimately, of course, economic outcomes if we look at the state and macro levels. These evidence-based insights directly informed the recent historic amendments to the Qatari Civil Human Resources Law by His Highness the Emir of Qatar in December 2025, including the extension of maternity leave to 3 months with full pay, up to 6 months in case of the delivery of twins or children with disabilities, and an additional 3 months of paid postnatal care, in addition to a comprehensive set of flexible working arrangements, including the option of remote work, 10 days emergency leave, expanded nursing and permission hours, and so on and so forth. I think the time will not allow to provide that much details of the law amendment, but that's thanks to the nudging efforts of DFI, not only the research related to work-family balance policies and family cohesion, but also to monetize the impact in terms of numbers and how this is impacting the economy at large and the organizational productivity. So in conclusion, the Qatari experience demonstrates that when robust evidence is coupled with strong political will, systematic change can be driven and impact can be achieved. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed, and definitely that was definitely a benchmark to follow, and we'll have to listen to also the Family Wellbeing Index in the future. So thank you so much for your contributions. And now we're moving into the section that we're going to listen from the youth perspectives. So I just want to mention to all the youth here present from IFFD, we have the ones from France, some from Spain. Really, thank you for your collaboration here in this event and perhaps for the next months ahead. And I would like everybody to give you an applause for that. And we are here present one of the IFFD awardees of former years. Here's Mr. Jisan from the Blue Tree Foundation. And he's been bringing many young people from Korea, and they're always eager to contribute, to be there. And we follow up since you brought on the first event like 3-4 years ago. all these young students. And since then, we have followed up on that. Last year, we led some of your students also to speak. And this year, it's my pleasure to introduce the student representatives of the Institute of Comparative Philosophy in Paris, IPC, as we call them, who will present the results of studies conducted in the summer of 2025, thanks to our project of Inclusive Cities of Sustainable Families, on the role of the private sector in assisting older persons and persons with disabilities, within the framework of the Erasmus Plus program, and in collaboration with the IFFD and the social services of several European cities that they have been visited this summer. The 4 selected students are Joseph Duchamp, Louis Benoit, Valran de Molmin, and Sixtine de Barberan. I would like to give the floor first to Joseph, please.
Thank you, Alex. Chair, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, this intervention is delivered on behalf of participants in an international internship program in social research and social intervention organized by the International Federation for Family Development in partnership with IPC in Paris and the European Union's Erasmus Plus program. This initiative offers young people a unique opportunity to contribute to combine a social commitment, rigorous field experience, and international exposure while building a solid professional profile in social and family policy that directly supports the CSocD priority theme and of advancing social development and social justice through coordinated, equitable, and inclusive policies. Through a preparatory week in Paris and 7 weeks of immersion in European regions such as Northern Italy and the Spanish Levante, interdisciplinary teams analyze disability policies, support for older persons, and strategies for social inclusion and innovation, producing evidence-based proposals that are presented in Brussels and New York, and allowing young voices to become agents of change alongside public institutions and civil society.
A person in the province of Treviso, Italy, illustrates how aging, care, and social protection intersect on the ground, and how gaps in coordination can undermine social justice. The data also confirm the central role of family as the main provider of care in older person. At the same time, older persons who turn to paid services show a marked preference for private providers, as they are perceived as offering higher quality and being more responsive. In contrast, public services are seen as bureaucratic, difficult to access, and poorly known. In a context where complex digital procedures, administrative burdens, lack of information, and physical obstacles discourage many from seeking public assistance. They fighting call for policies that explicitly recognize and support families, reduce access barriers to public services, and foster stronger partnership between authorities, providers, volunteers, and family to build integrate local care ecosystem that hold up the dignity and autonomy for older persons.
Comparative analysis of support systems for persons with disabilities based on the Valetian Social Services Institute and its dialogue with Swedish, French, and German practices reflects a shared commitment to dignity, autonomy, and full inclusion in community life influenced by the Convention of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. What we recommended in our report is not to conceive support as a substitute regime, but as a personalized measures focused on people's abilities and wishes, guided by principles of self-determination, proportionality, and participation. While recognizing that states must finance, regulate, and monitor services to guarantee equal access. Our report also highlights the value of hybrid models that combine the flexibility and the responsiveness of private non-profit actors with strong public oversight and adequate funding and clear quality standards. The recommendations encourage greater individualization of measures, a stronger role for families, administrative modernization, and full social and professional inclusion. Seeing support for the most vulnerable as a lever for institutional transformation and for more coordinated, equitable, and inclusive social development.
Looking ahead, the international internship is envisaged as a permanent laboratory for the policies promoted by this Commission. Future work plans foresee structured cycles with preparation in Paris, field research in European regions, and final weeks of synthesis and institutional presentations focusing on access to social protection, aging in place, inclusion of persons with disabilities, and support for family caregivers. The program will strengthen its interdisciplinary character, expand partnerships with local authorities and NGOs, and systematize the production of comparable indicators and case studies that other regions and member states can use as a reference for family and community-sensitive policies. By investing in the future of this internship as a school of practice, and encouraged in Erasmus Plus and open to collaboration with UN entities, governments, and NGOs, member states will be investing in a generation of professionals trained to listen to families and vulnerable people, to work across sectors and borders, and to translate local evidence into policy change so that no one and no family is left behind. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And I know for sure, I mean, Ignacio is the one that you all know. He used to be here at the UN all the time, the Director of International Relations, which I learned a lot from, and he was guiding you all the way in his new post in Paris as a talent acquisition of all these new young minds. So thank you for that. I will have joined you in your visits to great places, but I was preparing my wedding, that is in 2 months. So my wife is definitely helping us here. In 2 weeks, actually 2 weeks. I hope it would be 2 months. Maybe we have to save up more. That's another family policy that can be introduced. My wife is laughing in the back because she knows it's in 2 weeks. Well, now I would like to open the floor. We have like 5 minutes for questions before turning into the award ceremony. And I would like to tell you that if you're going to take the floor, please state your name and affiliation before speaking and keep the question concise. And if you want to identify the speaker, please do. Anyone with a question? Okay. Any statement?
Quick insights which I like about IFFD. As you gave the opportunity to listen for the voice of youth, I would highly appreciate to listen also to the voice of wisdom. We have at the back here this gentleman, Mr. Ignacio, who used to be, taking the seat here, and you used to be taking his some photos, and it's this kind of also a smooth transition and empowerment of each other, I think, is a model to be benchmarked in terms of the ethics and the high professional manner. He's, I'm sure, also doing a lot of work in terms of advocacy coalition for IFFD across the globe. So we would love also to listen from the gentleman, Mr. Ignacio.
Well, Ignacio takes the seat. Actually, I have to say that, yes, it's been a challenge for me to say, okay, now I cannot wait for him to make decisions, but it's me now. But he has always been there for his wisdom advice.
And I just want to add, we don't believe in intergenerational collaboration. We just practice it.
It's working. So maybe, oh, yeah, okay. This was not prepared, so it's just, so I don't know if I should thank you, Ahmed, or not, really. But what I actually want to say is that all these years have shown me that what we're working for is nothing personal, nothing ideological, nothing partisan, nothing really belonging to a part of society, but to the whole of society. And that's why I think our best contribution will be each one from our side. Now I am retired, though actively retired, as you can see. But we should contribute as much as we can in doing this showcase of evidence of what really works for everyone's well-being, everyone's happening. And maybe I should now take this opportunity to give the floor to another young voice who is here a bit hidden, the youth advocate from Malta, that I know he was willing to say something, but didn't dare to. So please, Samuel, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you. This also was a little bit unplanned, but regardless, I would like to thank all of you, first of all, for this wonderful event, very well organized and also very informative. I actually had a question that I would like to ask to Ms. Murphy, actually. Now, to give you a bit of context, Malta is one of the few states that offers government-provided free childcare for both parents who are studying, working parents, single parents, and even unemployed parents who need time to go and find a job. Now, my question is, in your intervention, you mentioned that we must engage business more. So I would like to ask, how can we ensure that businesses do not shirk off the responsibility of making life easier for parents, even in the context of the government stepping in and providing things such as childcare? Thank you.
That's a great question, and congratulations to Malta for providing free childcare in a very inclusive way, and that's amazing. I actually didn't know about that, so thank you for sharing that with all of us. How do we ensure that businesses don't shirk the responsibility? I think that particularly with our intervention, recognizing the influence that educators, early childhood educators, professionals have within their agency to hold businesses and other stakeholders to account. And what we do is that we elevate what we know as we know them as experts, but to be able to translate their expertise so that they are able to communicate very effectively across sectors, including business, what they know is true and what is important for the children that they serve, the families and the communities, because they are at really the front line, right? And so to be able to build their capacity, build upon their strengths to communicate effectively, to hold businesses and politicians, and just really being a part of the coordination that's necessary for high quality childcare, whatever that may look like in your context, is what we really believe in. Is really what drives what we do, and really seeing elevating the professionalization of the early childhood professionals and experts. So hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you so much. I have to say that some years ago we actually gave the IFFD award to Malta for their policies on family. So thank you for being here. Now I think this is the closing of the panel. I'll now give the floor to Nora for the IFFD award ceremony.
Thank you, Alex. Let us now move on to the award ceremony. Since 2013, our federation has been presenting annually the IFFD Awards during the Commission for Social Development to persons or entities distinguished by the promotion of family perspective policies around the world. I have the honor to present the first 2026 IFFD Award to the region of Friuli-Venezia-Giulia, a territory that has made the family unit a true pillar of its public policies. In a time when demographic changes test the very fabric of our societies, Friuli-Venezia-Giulia has chosen a path that embraces intergenerational solidarity, accessibility, and well-being for all. As a signatory of the Venetian Declaration within the Inclusive Cities for Sustainable Families Project, the region stands as an inspiring model of what it means to build communities where every person in the family can flourish. Its innovative programs support healthy habits and integrate family perspectives across social, health, and territorial policies. This vision is not only administrative, it is profoundly human. It reflects a belief that resilience begins in families and that inclusive environments create sustainable futures. Friuli-Venezia-Giulia has shown how regional governance can become a laboratory of demographic innovation, combining evidence-based policy with a culture of care and participation. Consequently, the International Board of the International Federation for Family Development has decided that the region of Friuli-Venezia-Giulia should be granted one of the 2026 IFFD Family Awards. So on behalf of the Federation, it is with great pleasure that I invite you now to show your appreciation to the representatives present here today. Congratulations to the region. I would like to call to the distinguished Mrs. Gianna Zamarro, Director of Health Services of the region of Friuli-Venezia-Giulia, to accept the award on behalf of her region. Now we will listen to Gianna Zamarro's acceptance remarks.
Just few words. Dear all, it's an honor for me to be here today in this symbolic place in New York, and I won't hide it, I'm a little emotional. First of all, I would like to thank you, Mr. Jose Alejandro Vasquez, Alex, for us, the Director of the International Relations and the Board of the International Federation for Family Development, sorry for my cough, very much for thinking of awarding the government of the autonomous region Friuli-Venezia-Giulia and me this important prize. Thank you for appreciating our constant and ongoing commitment and the work we have done over the years in the professional, technical, and political fields. Unfortunately, no politicians are here with me today, as they would have liked to receive this important award because they are very busy in very in time, a strong time. However, I would like to thank our president, Mr. Massimiliano Fedrigan, and our counselor for health, Mr. Riccardo Riccardi, for believing in me and my staff and providing all the necessary resources for implementation of these programs, which we have shared and implemented together during these last 2 terms. Our commitment will continue and will be enriched with new projects for families, the fundamental nucleus of our society, and vulnerable people. Special thanks to Mr. Ignacio Socias, former director of the IFFD. And finally, I would like to thank Mr. Ciambetti and Mrs. Elena Curtopassi of the Veneto region for all the opportunities offered to the FVG region and to me as the signatories of Venice Declaration. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Director, and congratulations again. Our next 2026 awardee will be presented by Dr. Sharifa Al-Emari, Executive Director of the Doha International Family Institute and IFFD awardee of 2018 to the best place for working parents. Dr. Al-Emari, you have the floor.
Thank you, Nora. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Excellencies, esteemed participants, and friends. Firstly, I would like to thank our long-standing partners, the International Federation for Family Development, for leading this important side event today and for consistently standing with pro-family organization and recognizing their contribution. Today, it is my honor to present the 2026 IFFD Award to the Best Place for Working Parents, an initiative that has transformed the conversation around work, business, and family well-being. With remarkable clarity and practical wisdom and backed by national research and a robust framework of 10 evidence-based policies, the best place for working parents empowers business to take meaningful steps towards supporting employees as both professionals and parents. Their model contributes positively to retention, engagement, and productivity while strengthening the families that sustain every workplace. It turns corporate responsibilities and competitive advantage and concrete result by showing that caring for families is not an expense but an investment. The best place for working parents reflects that the IFFD stands for a future in while economic success and family well-being grow together. Consequently, the International Board of the International Federation for Family Development has decided that the best place for working parents should be granted one of the 2026 IFFD Family Award. Allow me to congratulate you for your vision, leadership, and believe that business success being at home with driven parents, resilient children, and community that care. Please join me with a big clapping for their achievement. To accept this award.
Yes, so now I would like to give the floor to the representatives of the Best Place for Working Parents for their acceptance remarks.
Thank you to the International Federation for Family Development for this incredible award. To be recognized at the United Nations headquarters among leaders and advocates from around the world, that are dedicated to strengthening families. This is an incredible honor and privilege, and we are deeply grateful, alongside our families ourselves, that traveled to be here to support us today. The Best Place for Working Parents was built hand in hand with our business community as a solution that could help corporate leaders prioritize research-backed, family-friendly policies that are proven to help working parents and their children, while also being a smart and sustainable investment for business. Best Place for Working Parents is not about creating a single global model for businesses, but about enabling organizations to design solutions that fit their local context and unique workforce needs, while aligning with proven strategies that deliver a tangible return on investment.
Today, the Best Place for Working Parents is lifting up businesses across the U.S. who are excelling in family-friendly innovations that are helping both caregiving employees and businesses thrive. From sharing case studies of family-friendly exemplars to hosting regional business roundtables, discussions, and publishing thought leadership on the latest trends and opportunities related to family-friendly policies. Best Place for Working Parents strives to remain at the forefront of the corporate movement of investing in family-friendly policies as an essential asset that will define the future of successful workplaces in the US and across the globe. Our approach is flexible by design, recognizing that labor markets, cultural norms, and regulatory environments differ, but the fundamental needs of working parents are remarkably consistent. And so we are so excited and grateful to continue inviting large organizations, small enterprises, and growing employers to participate meaningfully in Best Place for Working Parents National Network, and to feel welcome joining the growing movement that will have a lasting impact on families, employers, and communities for generations to come. On behalf of all our regional partners and nearly 3,000 Best Place for Working Parents businesses, we thank the International Federation for Family Development for today's award, for the honor, and we look forward to continuing to partner alongside you with our mission for years to come.
Thank you, Ms. Funk and Mrs. Reddington, for your participation here. Congratulations again. Well, allow me to congratulate both of our awardees for all the efforts conducted to improve the life of many families and children worldwide. The world is definitely a better place with the contributions you make. Before concluding the event, I would like to ask Mrs. Renata Karczmarska, focal point on the family at the UN-DESA, for closing remarks. Mrs. Karczmarska, you have the floor.
Thank you, Nora. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for aligning the topic of this discussion we had today so closely with the theme of the Commission for Social Development and with its emerging issue on care and support systems. Thank you so much for really following what the Commission is doing and contributing to the work of the Commission. I would like to thank all the participants and our collaborators for all their contributions, and I would like to thank the young people especially and for all the work you are doing. It looks like you are really helping with social policy development and watching out for those initiatives that pay off. We heard a lot about the necessity of investment in family-oriented policies, and you really demonstrate that we can come together, civil society, local institutions, private sector, academics, and forge new partnerships so we can accomplish so many important tasks to help families. I was very impressed by examples of today's award recipients of their work. Congratulations, the recipients. I hope we can cooperate in the future more closely with UN-DESA. And let me just finish by paraphrasing the conclusions of the note that the Secretariat prepared on eradicating poverty and ensuring dignity through resilient care and support systems. The coming decade presents an opportunity to transform the recognition and organization of care and support as a pillar of inclusive and sustainable development. anchoring care and support through family-oriented policies within national and global development agendas, guided by the Doha Political Declaration and the United Nations system-wide guidance, will allow member states to advance social justice, family-friendly, and gender equality and human dignity, while building societies that are more cohesive and friendly towards parents and families, and prepared for the challenges ahead. I think that this event really contributed to guiding the future work of, that we and partnerships that UN-DESA and civil society and other stakeholders are carrying ahead. So thank you so much, and I truly would like to cooperate with you in the future. So I hope you look up our website and see the resources that we have on care and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presence here today. This concludes the briefing event, and this briefing has ended. Thank you.
So we will have a picture with the panel, and the awardees. Thank you. Thank you so much for all.